Welcome back, everybody, to the Fifth Line Podcast. We have all four of us back once again, 2 weeks in a row with all four of us back. Although a couple of us have aged backwards, it appears. Haven't we, Ben?
It looks like. It really does.
We each have taken
I'm
about
immediately
3
growing
years.
it back, but
Yeah, Ben's gonna be growing it back. He doesn't like being a baby faced. You know what I will say is I shaved it, and then I went over a day without going outside, and then I went outside and my face was freaking freezing.
yeah,
Like it was so cold.
It is noticeable. And I will say, just because I almost always have it, the last time I've only shaved it off once during COVID. And the last time I did it and then felt a mask on my face for the first time was the strangest thing.
It was weird.
It was really odd, and I'm not looking forward to it tomorrow. But
Ben, did you at least shave it after you were done skiing today?
yes, I shaved it when I got home.
I was going to say that would have been freaking cold.
That would have been
cold. I was wearing a face covering the whole time. Like I have the it was what I used for when it was cold when we were playing Pondy. It's like the mask, but then it has like a little nose hole, and then
like a balaclava.
And then when I was around in the lodge area, I actually had a Habs COVID mask that I just put over it and then looped it around my ears, and I was like, there we go.
You're such a fucking loser.
Wait, so you wore a mask over top of the mask?
Yeah, because also the fucking lift attendants were yelling at me about it too. So
about not having a mask?
You know what?
Because it wasn't covering my nose. Because it did have a nose hole.
What the frig?
Which it does defeat the it isn't.
That is fair.
Yeah, but you're outside.
You're outside.
Damn.
also true. Honestly.
Yeah.
It's not like they have the fancy chairlift where you're inside of a fucking
Oh, those
car
are cool,
going up. You're sitting outside the whole time. Tell them to piss off.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I had fun skiing though. It was good.
Yeah. So some exciting news, gentlemen. We are now going to be featuring this podcast on a couple different audio only channel type things. So it's going to be on Spotify, Breaker, and Anchor.fm. All of the links to our channel will be in the description below, so you can go find it there.
You can one of those is.
Yeah, you can hit follow. It's also supposedly on Google Podcasts, but I can't find it. So I'm not going to say that it is on there because I haven't found it yet. But for those other three, I'll put those in there. Spotify is really the only one that I think anybody actually uses. But it is on there, and I listened to it, and it sounds
but
like
we're on
normal.
all of the platforms.
Yep, so now you can listen in the car, which is where I listen to all mine, so works out. And then, Benny, I saw that you shared something about your Habs blog. And I would like to see if you want to shout yourself out.
Sure, I will do a little shout out because I sort of switched duties at work. I work at a newspaper up in northern New York. Because I kind of switched duties to more so doing page design work and less writing, just because I was stressed. I joined up on a Habs blog for the hockey season, just because I was like, hey, it'd be really fun to write about hockey. RabidHabs.com is the site. And I will send Mike the link, so it'll be in the
link will be in the description
of the first post I had, which was essentially just a love letter to Andrei Markov, which is why I'm wearing a Markov jersey tonight. But yeah, so that link will be there if you want to read some dumb stuff I wrote about hockey, because I had fun with that, and I have a couple ideas I'm working on.
If listening isn't enough.
If listening to me isn't annoying enough, you can get angry at my writing too.
All right. So yesterday there was a debacle outside, and they are now playing the second game now. As we speak.
It appears to be going a bit
appears
better.
to be working.
Yeah.
So yesterday, the first game on Tahoe. It wasn't actually on Tahoe. It was next to it. It was Tahoe adjacent.
Well, when Tahoe isn't frozen, it's.
Dude, we all thought it was going to be on the lake. And there were so many other
I
people.
thought it was going to be somewhere northern, more northern.
Well, I thought it was in Alaska originally.
I didn't think it was going to be in friggin' California.
Wasn't a great plan, but
could have been somewhere that wasn't gonna be hovering around like freezing and sunny when you want to play a National Hockey League game, because that's like the perfect conditions for ice to be bad.
Yep. And it was very bad.
As it was.
It was just slush. On like all the colored lines, it was just slush.
They were like breaking it, chipping it apart like every other play in that first period. It was rough. It was funny because I was actually driving from Plattsburgh to home yesterday around 3-4ish, because I was just getting there in the afternoon, whatever. But then I missed the first period and turned it on like, hey, let's watch. And then we watched like 40 minutes of them being like, we might keep playing, we might not.
It was a lot.
For them to eventually just be like, we'll be back at midnight.
I didn't watch the game at all, but I saw a couple of clips of them talking about how bad the ice was. And I think Morning Skate shared it on Twitter. And it was like, a ref fell over, and then like a second later, a player falls.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. But then they did get it finished.
They did finish it up at 12 Eastern, which was 9 o'clock their time. So there was, I think I saw a tweet in between goals, because whoever the first goal was from Colorado, between that goal and the second goal scored, which I believe was a Golden Knights goal, but I don't remember who it was.
It was the two goals real quick. It was Sam Girard, and then I think it was Chandler. No, Alec Martinez.
It was Alec Martinez. Yep.
Yeah.
Between those two goals, there was 9 hours of time.
Jesus.
And,
my God.
So yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you don't know what we're talking about, the ice sucked. And they had to delay the second and third periods.
Even was it called? NHL Outdoors?
It's just
they had like a name for it.
Yeah, it's NHL. Is it? I think it is just the NHL Outdoors.
Yeah, like I saw that on all the graphics anyway. I knew they would have some like thing
on center ice,
some schlocky thing to call it.
On center ice, it says NHL Outdoors at Lake Tahoe. That's pretty much.
There we go.
So, maybe they'll keep it going, and then next year it'll be at Lake Ontario. That'd be cool.
That would be very cool.
At Lake George.
also
yes,
very cool.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. At Lake Saratoga Lake. So right now, Boston and Philly are playing. I believe it's 1-1.
I think
2-2. 2-2 at the end of the first. So I'm hoping my Philly player is scoring me some points.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
All right. Now I don't have much to say on this Brampton Beast thing. It's an unfortunate thing. But it's unfortunately that's how it goes in some of these smaller leagues. The Brampton Beast, they're disbanding, right? Or they're just quitting.
They're folding.
They're closing up shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I saw, basically, they've been playing for 8 years, is what I read, and essentially, they're shutting the doors for them basically just because of all COVID, and they're like, it's not just like a one season affecting us type thing. It's been a culmination of 3 seasons essentially, because you're talking like, the season prior to COVID, they didn't play any after when the NHL came back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So basically all 2020.
Yeah. So then now they're in the third season at this point. Third season of effect for them because they got shut down. Like we're talking like regular 2019-2020 season first.
Mm-hmm.
1920,
which got shut down, right?
So this would be the second.
Yeah, this is the second one.
Yeah, okay.
I saw the article that you were talking about, and the article was talking about 3 seasons as well, but I didn't understand that either. Because I was like, this is only 2. So maybe the next one is... I don't know.
I don't know enough about the team, but they might have just been already struggling. They were the Habs ECHL affiliate.
ECHL...
Back.
The
it's
AHL
not like you're not making
enough.
a lot of money off of an ECHL team no matter what, so it isn't it wouldn't shock me if you see more of these teams go down after all of this, because
like the Thunder,
it's not like they have a ton of like extra cash lying around for the ECHL.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a majority of ECHL teams go. I mean, because
there's some that are like a little more like long lasting and have like a bit of a tradition that'll probably stick around, and then a lot of the newer or like less successful teams you'll probably see turnover. But there's a lot of turnover in that league always. Like there's teams moving to different, like there's
they change
a
all the
lot
time too. Like
area.
what the Thunder like and I know they weren't always named the Thunder, but like they were the Devils affiliate for a second. They are now. They're Devils affiliate now, I think. But then they were the Flyers for a little while. And I think there was someone else, maybe like
I think they're an AHL team though.
No, they're not.
Thunder or not.
Thunder?
I don't
I'm
think
thinking
so.
of a long time ago when we went. So when the Phantoms were there, yes, the Phantoms were
The ADK Phantoms
were there or were AHL, and then they dropped down to even lower level. Because we went and saw the Phantoms at one point. You guys probably didn't.
I freaking didn't.
In high school.
Yeah, you went with the
what were
Athletic
those
Association.
trips?
Athletic
Okay.
Association.
Yeah, a bunch of BS.
Yep.
You
That was
guys
fun.
didn't have my sports.
Whatever, dude. I knew how to understand hockey.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that happened for the Brampton Beasts, and
Crappy
unfortunately,
situation.
probably going to be something you're going to see with some more ECHL teams before this is out. But yeah.
All right, the Arizona Coyotes.
Did
I
any of you
don't
happen to
know
read
what's
it?
going on. I watched the Steve Dangle podcast when they talked to what's her name? The person who wrote
Somebody
the article.
Katie Strang.
Katie Strang, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
So I watched that and I listened to a little bit of 31 Thoughts. All it sounds like is the front office sucks and
Oh yeah,
they don't have
like-
money. That's what it sounds like.
like just like colossally sucks.
Yeah, it's real bad.
That athletic piece is really good. I recommend anybody who has the Athletic read it. It's just so in depth and like, if you watch the Steve Dangle part about it, like he was correct. Like you read it and then like there's another thing that comes along the line that's like, oh geez, and then you think it's got to be done, and then there's another thing, just like sheer incompetence. It's like it ranges from Mitchell Miller situation that we already talked about earlier this year. There was that. There was not paying players bonuses on time in the playoffs, which is just a contract. Like it's a contract mandated thing, and then that got the NHLPA on their backs. It's them like appearing to just regularly try to get out of contracts with vendors and just like pay so much less than they owe them, and just threatening litigation because the owner's rich, so like you can hold that over their head. And if like a company
I could buy a good lawyer.
A company's probably not going to want to go through a protracted lawsuit if you can just kind of chop the bill down and just get some money.
Yeah.
So like it's just like
Shady
it
business.
was so much. Like it's just so much, which is unfortunate for a team like Arizona, which has just kind of been in this spot for a while. Like
they haven't been making money, I don't think.
No, that's not that strange. A lot of teams in the NHL don't make money, but like it's just been so like sheerly like they went bankrupt and were bought by the league at one point.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Like
We've been talking about Arizona being in a tough financial spot for like a couple of years now. Where
it's been like a decade now. But like I don't know. I just don't know when is when with that like market and I honestly think the only reason it stayed around this long is because it was such a huge pet project of Gary Bettman, and it was like his earliest big thing that happened within the league. It was a movement of Winnipeg to Phoenix. It was a movement of a Canadian team to Phoenix, Arizona. You're bringing a Canadian team to the desert, and like so many people were mad about that in Canada, especially. So like, so if he's sticking by it because he's like, nah, it's gonna be right, but is it?
It's not looking right now. Where do you think they move?
I mean, the two most obvious ones, three most obvious ones, the ones that have always been talked about are Quebec and
The
Kansas City.
Nordiques.
Quebec
Ooh,
and Kansas
City.
because they both have. I know Kansas City had like they'd be similar to like Winnipeg, where it's like it's small NHL buildings, but like they're like okay, it's close enough in terms of size for NHL buildings. Probably be like around 15K. I think Quebec might have to do some modifications to it to make it NHL.
So you're just saying
regulated.
because they already have arenas there.
They already have the arenas, and there's been very clear interest from like groups in Quebec City to want to get a team back. And from what I know, there's been some interest in Kansas City too. And then the other location that always gets brought up is Houston, just because it's so big. And Texas has proven that they'll watch hockey.
They can do
to a degree.
stuff. Yeah.
Dallas has had enough success there, I think, to show that. And just because the sheer number, I don't. What's the population of Houston? I know it's large. Like there's enough population of.
Isn't Houston the capital of Texas too? So
Austin's the
I'm
capital.
not positive about that. It's 2.31 million people. You could probably
That's a lot of
find
people.
at least 15, 20K people in that city that'll watch hockey in an arena.
I'm sure.
And like
especially
maybe
after
build,
Corona's done.
Like
Let me do
there's enough
something,
people in that
please.
city. So those would probably be the three places. But
Corona doesn't exist in Texas, just so you guys know.
yeah.
Oh my god.
But I don't know. I don't know about Arizona. Like there's just been so many times where I've wanted to be like, yeah, I hope they do well. Like I hope this team that appears to be not be doing so great could like kind of turn it around and make something out of like a weird market and like have a fun team. But like they just so consistently just find ways to bleh.
Fuck it up.
Yes. Yes.
Said
Yeah.
so elegantly.
Yeah. Eloquently put. All right, Nicholas.
Watch, they're just gonna go on like a 10-game winning streak.
They
after
probably
all this.
will now, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, Nicholas.
Do
Lafreniere.
we want to talk about this or not?
mean,
Let's talk about
sure.
it. I think I have my points written down concisely.
Has
I would
anything
like to hear
changed?
your points.
I haven't looked at his stats since. we
All right,
talked
wait,
about
wait.
it.
He
I
has
want to say
two
something real
now.
quick. Yeah, so right after you said that, the next day I think he ended up scoring a goal.
But even so, he's got two.
He's
So,
got 2 goals.
He's
We're
got
That's
talking
two in
about Alex
16.
Lafreniere, and his unfortunate situation that he's currently got going on in New York. When we all talked about this, 3 days ago at this point, and I was like, we probably should bring this up in the podcast because he's had 1 goal up until that point. Now he has 2, but he's got 2 goals, no assists, so he is not doing quite as expected. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this guy, I completely understand he's 18, 19 years old.
He's 19. Yep. 19 and
So,
19 days.
yes, he doesn't
133
must have
days or
just
So you shouldn't
turned
be
19 then?
anticipating this kid to
He's like
to
19.
have out of this world stats, but you would expect somebody who got he was first overall picked, right?
Yep.
You would expect the number 1 overall pick to be producing more than a goal after 15 games, in my opinion. And then
I
I'm
think
like,
so.
the Rangers aren't that bad of a team.
They've had their.
I mean, they're not
struggles
great.
so far this year.
They're not a great team. But then I think, okay, the Senators are the worst team in the league, leaps and bounds worse than anybody else out there.
Yes.
But they still have all their young guys producing. Like I haven't the only one that hasn't really gotten his shot is Logan Brown, and everybody's like, okay, at some point they're gonna call him up and let him play. But like Stützle's scoring, Josh Norris, which was like I forgot about him, is producing. Brady Tkachuk's producing. Drake Batherson.
Okay, but now you're bringing in like 2nd and 3rd and 4th year
I
players.
get that,
okay.
but they still have more points than this guy.
Yes, and they've also been like. Anyway, continue. Finish before I.
Yes,
go
I
on.
know, I know, Ben. I'm talking about 2-year-in players, but I'm not when I'm talking about Josh Norris or Tim Stützle.
Josh
And
Norris
they
is a
have
rookie.
what?
This
Is
is
Josh
Josh
Norris a
Norris's. This is Josh Norris's first year. I don't know if he's 19.
I thought he had
or
been
anything,
around.
but I'm pretty sure this
No.
is his first year in the league.
Anyway, from my opinion, I think the guy should be producing a little bit more. I don't know what the Rangers need to do to get him going. But
Oh, if the only point is he should be producing more, then yeah, he probably should.
Okay, well that's the point. We can move on. What I'll say is he's 19 years old, and I think this situation comes out of what's happened with the world. We've had last year he didn't play for a majority of last year, and then he didn't play in the World Juniors, so it had been over a year of no games.
That is true,
Or
guys.
almost
like
a full year of no games.
Stutzel and a few other guys got the World Juniors.
That's so he's and for a younger guy like that, I think that affects them more. But I think we'll see him pick it up. If not, then we'll see. Maybe he'll get traded at the end of his ELC. But
I think
we
not
have
having
a long ways to go
AHL,
before that happens.
Like, I think not having an ability to have him play in the AHL and like pad his stats against an AHL team and like boost his confidence hurts him too. Because like if we were in a normal season and he's only got one goal at this point, his ass is shipped down to AHL.
Yeah, probably. He'd probably get a steal.
I also think that's the smart play. Let him get a little confidence.
Right now,
let him wreck all those noobs.
Right now, in the weird situation everybody's in the condensed season,
AHL's
Rangers
playing.
kind of need. I know, but like the Rangers need the help they can get. Like they're not exactly having a great time right now, and I don't know that they have any better options over him. But I will say, I think Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews have made it very unfair for every other number one pick that has like been picked recently. Because just because you're first overall, even like there's some players that they're going to be amazing talents, and at 18 and 19, they're just not going to be there yet. Just
like that in every sport too.
Right.
Like sometimes you're going to have stud number one overall picks, and sometimes you're going to have a number one overall pick who doesn't do anything.
He'll take a few years.
Who can't hack it. It's happened in the NFL. I don't know how many times with quarterbacks.
But if you look around, like the Austin Matthews and the Connor McDavids of like the high picks lately, which I would argue those two are just extremely like elite level talents that like aren't going to be in every draft. You see guys like I think Nico Hischier went one, who he was just named captain of the Devils, but I also think he took like a couple 2 years like to kind of actually get into gear. Like,
took him a little bit, yeah.
I just think I think Lafreniere will be fine, but yes, he does need to start producing more.
If the Rangers want to make it to the playoffs.
If the Rangers want to do anything.
If not, then he can do whatever he wants.
My pick of having the Rangers lead that division is very wrong right now.
Hey, there's a lot of hockey left.
There is a lot of hockey, yeah. We are actually the halfway point is coming up for some teams.
Yeah, it's closer than it is far away.
It's 28 games, and I think the Leafs are at 20 games played, and I think they're at the most, I believe.
Interesting.
But yeah, also, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, just one last thing. Also, yes, Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews are clearly elite level talents. They're clearly this generation's Ovechkin and Crosby.
They're making it unfair for every other number one pick that's going to get picked like within the next few years. Because like, come on, no, you're not gonna jump in and be a McDavid or a Matthews.
They are already points leader.
Than Matthews, but
they are already points leader and goals leader respectively. So
Matthews is crazy this year.
Real quick,
all the other stats that Matthews is leading in too, like he's got
quick,
all these like block shot stats and stuff like that. Where he's like first, second in the league on those too.
He's doing stuff.
All right, real quick, I wanted to get to what Eric was going to say because Eric was going to say something.
No, so interesting point. So the whole point of that debate, right? So we're all in agreement, right, that Laf needs to produce more. Right?
Oh, he should absolutely be doing more.
So that's the question, right? A talent like that. So is there like you said about Hischier, right? Nico Hischier.
Yeah.
It took him a few years to get going. So I'm of the opinion that you can't. While he needs to produce more, I personally don't like when people are like, oh, like after like 16 games, bust first round.
I love seeing that shit. Like after a guy's been in the league for 20 games, just bust. Yeah, I'm okay, sure, yes, that.
But here's my question though: is there an arbitrary value? Can we say like is there for Laf? Like, would there be? Can we even put a cap? He's a first overall pick, always will be. Like, can we put a cap on? Oh, what year do we? Can we start saying, guys definitely a bust?
I don't think you fully know what a player is until like 200, 250 games. because there's just some players that, like, Patrice Bergeron didn't become what he was until his late 20s. And what he is now is one of the most elite two-way centers of the league still at like 37. Is he? He's like,
I don't know if he's 37. 37 is his jersey number, I believe.
It is his jersey number, but I think he's also old.
He's in his.
He's late 30s. He's mid to late 30s. Yeah.
All right, Ben. While you look at that, though, Nick, you said you held up your. You said
35.
I think on a number 1 overall pick, the expectation when you're taking a guy number 1 is that he's going to be this like the superstar that you're going to be able to have play consistent like 20 plus minutes a night and scoring. And I'm not even going to throw a number at it, but he's going to be up there in points.
Their expectations, yeah.
There's clearly higher expectations on a number 1 overall pick, and I think not that I'm saying I'm giving a guy 2 years. Logically, you give him more, but I think after a couple, like 2, maybe 3 years at the most, the team's going to be like, okay, he hasn't done anything. If I don't expect this to be the case with him, but if you have a number 1 overall pick who isn't a super high contributor like they expected him to be, there's got to be a point where the team's going to have to cut him loose.
You want to know? You want to know the point? It's after the 3-year mark. When his contract runs out. That's the point. If he hasn't done anything by then, they're gonna be like, okay, see you later.
I know what you're saying, Nick. And yes, but to the viewers, we're not saying like, oh yeah, like ship laugh out. Like if he doesn't, like, oh my god, like obviously there's so much context and so many more games to be played. Mm-hmm. But that's all good point.
But like, what's your version of like not like if he's at like averaging like 15 points a season through all of his first 3 seasons? Okay, sure, yes, bye. But if he's at least gets like a 20-goal year in that span of time, like I think it's a situation where you're like, all right, he's clearly like he might have like a slow like few years in adjustment to the NHL, but like if you get like a 20 or 30-goal year in there within that, it's like, all right, yeah, he's something.
But so like look at it like this too, though. So if he, let's say that happens, he gets a 20 or 30-goal season in year 2.
Yeah.
So next
goes
year.
into year 3, and then just is flat year 3 too. What do they do?
Balls.
I mean, you don't give up on that. I don't think you give up on a first round talent like that.
It depends on how much he asks for.
Yeah, I think
I hate that, but I've seen it, like I compare it to football. I've seen it like I don't remember how many times I've seen quarterbacks come out of college, specifically from Alabama, play like 3 seasons. It happened a couple years ago. Josh Rosen was picked like number 4. He played 1 year, has not played as a starting quarterback since.
You can't compare,
and they cut him loose.
You can't compare football contracts to hockey contracts.
I'm not comparing it. I'm not comparing the contracts. I'm saying the team.
No, but you can't compare those situations. You can't compare those situations though, because hockey players almost never move during RFA years. Like it's just not a thing that happens. Generally, it like if he has a bad like 2 out of 3 years, he'll get a really low contract, and he'll just kind of have to take that until he gets to UFA years or he has an insane like 40-goal season, because nobody signs offer sheets. And fuck, Ottawa just scored. It's 2-1 Ottawa, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So like I don't know.
Another thing is football, especially like quarterbacks. There's 1 per team. In hockey, you've got 4 dudes each position on the front. So, and they're cycling in. They're playing so much. Like a quarterback comes in, blows balls for the first couple games, and then doesn't see any playing time. Doesn't have a chance to prove himself. He's not gonna get any money or any play time or anything like that.
Fair.
But I do see where you're coming from. But I think I think we gotta wait and see.
I would say it's
to end
this
off.
Like 15 games into his career.
All right, to another young guy, the youngest active captain, newly named. We just mentioned him, Nico Hischier, named captain of the Devils.
Is it deserving?
I mean, I honestly don't watch enough Devils hockey, but they've been a sneaky good team from like their record at least so far this year. Like they've been doing some stuff.
But hasn't he been out with COVID like for an extended period of that? From
most of their team was out with COVID.
Yeah,
like there was a big chunk of their team. Like that's, I don't know, but I don't really watch enough Devils hockey to really say much. But it's cool for the guy.
My thing was, and then I remembered, I was like, my first thought was, really? Why? And then I thought, why? What about Subban? And then I remembered, didn't he fight Miles Wood in practice or something? Or they had some kind of friggin' scuffle. He had a scuffle with a teammate in a practice. Yeah, I forget who it was. I'm pretty sure it was Miles Wood. But
listen, if I'm the Devils coach, I'm naming Travis Zajac as their captain. I think they wanted. He's played his 1000th game. He played his 1000th game the other night.
Really? Wow.
Dude, he's been on the Devils for as long. Like anytime the Islanders used to play the Devils, when I was like a kid, I remember Zajac. You can't forget that name.
He's been there his whole career. I think he's been there his whole career.
That's cool. That is a cool name.
Yeah.
Because the Devils were like, they had obviously a period where they weren't very good, but there was this hot second where they had like Zajac and Adam Henrique and Zach Parise and. You know, a handful of other good guys. I can't remember. Back when I liked the Devils way back in the day.
Yes, I remember that. You switching teams every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
now I like Chicago.
No. I liked the Devils, and then I didn't like anybody else. Sure. No. We're not gonna go there because I only liked the Devils, and then I just stopped watching hockey.
You definitely liked Dallas and Chicago at other separate times.
I remember Chicago for sure. That was because he likes the Cubs, guys.
Yeah, the Chicago. Listen, the Dallas one is only because Brian and Dad watched.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that was
them. So it wasn't like I was like, oh my god, I want Dallas to beat everybody because they're the best team in the league.
He was like, ooh, this team's good.
Oh, I'm gonna be biased for Dallas because that's who they watch.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Lightning they just won the cup. I think I'm gonna be their fan.
Instead I picked the Senators when they were having that one bottom. Like good season, and then they just went.
When Carlson was still there before he broke your heart.
I mean, they did also just trade out their entire like
team,
main
core, a lot of it,
and just for like this will somehow magically make us better when we trade them out for nothing. Although the defense trade
I don't think they have a defensive. They don't have one person on the defense now who played on that Eastern Conference team.
Yep.
I still don't know why they didn't bring back Borowicki or Gorbiex or however the fuck you say
I don't understand how they didn't bring him back.
Oh yeah,
he should have been the captain, hands down. He should have been the guy on that team. But like when they got rid of they had Dion Phaneuf, they had Mark Mathot and traded him to Dallas, and he didn't do jack shit there.
I mean, Dion Phaneuf was early, but Mathot would have been worth keeping. Big like Dion. He had his flaws, but
Mathot played with Carlson primarily. So when I can't remember who got traded first, but you know them losing that pairing. I mean, I think Carlson left first, and then Mathot left after that, if I remember correctly. And then I just don't think Mathot ever played the same. Like, no, obviously he's not going to play the same if he doesn't have Eric Carlson on.
Went at some point around the expansion draft.
I don't remember.
Well,
all I know is nobody's there. Nobody who's on that team is there anymore.
Yeah, it's unrecognizable from like 5 years ago.
I think the Zingel's now the only one.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's back. When does he start playing? I guess like a week or two.
It's gonna be at least another week.
He's got to do his thing, his quarantining.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to talk about our fantasy league? Cause I do.
No, I guess.
A little update on my team. It doesn't exist.
So, Mike, I don't really want to talk about this. I'm a little pissed off after what happened last night.
So last night, I roared in.
Holy shit, 130 points?
With 130 points.
I looked at your roster, and I was like, how the fuck did he get all these points? And I'm like,
15, go down.
12, 25. I'm like, what in the fuck?
Head down to my goalies. See how I got it. Koskinen, baby. No, I had just a bunch of people did a whole lot of stuff.
Wait, Mike, quick question.
Yeah.
Was your only Edmonton player Koskinen?
Yep.
And he got you how many
He got
points?
me 28.8 points.
Out of all the Edmonton
hate
players
you.
to get you
I hate
28 points, if
Well-
you told me it would be Koskinen.
Yeah, well, my dad had McDavid, and McDavid got him like 35 points, and I was like,
Okay.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
Draisaitl only had 11.
Yeah, Draisaitl did not do as much.
You
But
wanna
yeah,
know you want to know what happened in that game? It was obviously a 7-1 game. I had 11 points from Draisaitl, and then I had a little bit from Lindholm, half a point from Johnny Hockey,
Oh, that's
just half a
unfortunate.
point.
He was held off.
and then Jacob Markstrom got pulled after 10 shots.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry,
Ooh.
15 shots.
15.
He had
Yes.
10 saves, 5 goals against. -4 points.
That's unfortunate. My two big earners, my three big earners, were Nate McKinnon, 1 goal, 2 assists, and then the two guys I got from old Benny,
I
Austin
knew that trade was
Matthews.
going to bite me in the ass.
I
Austin
don't even
Matthews,
care.
2
I'm
goals,
just
2
so pissed
assists.
at the 2 goals that just went in for the
Mitch Marner,
Sens.
1 goal, 2 assists. That's right. And
Whatever.
the
Oh, yeah,
Sens are
Mark.
beating up on the Canadians right now, so that's
Shoulda
exciting.
never-
Just go watch the 2 goals that went in for the Sens.
I will watch that after. But yeah,
Norris
so
goal.
I'm now in second. I jumped Nick. I'm only ahead of you by 20 points. It's not very much. And then, unfortunately, my dad got 125 points, so I didn't really make any ground up on him. So yeah, he just continues to extend his lead, which is
No, you
And
made
unfortunate.
5
He's in
points
first
on
place.
him.
I made 5 points on him, yeah. Which
He's
I
in
then
first place,
promptly,
Mike.
my dad, my dad's
Oh,
team,
okay.
who has made one after draft move. So I guess he drafted well, but my team has also been hurt and delayed,
Yeah.
and that's it. All right, boys. Want to talk about the divisions?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
We can skip the North if you want, buddy.
No,
Where
The
does
it's
Batherson
Batherson
go?
goal was good. If you're talking about those goals, the Batherson goal
they
was pretty
both
good.
fucking hit Jake Allen and just like fucking flip.
The Norris goal was
Like,
like,
over.
yeah, the Norris goal was like a little flip that just like,
Both of them did the same thing.
no. The Batherson one had much more skill in
Yes,
it than
he
that.
like cut it in, but like it's still.
Listen, Ben's not going to
Whatever,
give
dude.
props to
A
a
goal-
team that scores
Listen,
on
I'm
him.
going to take the words from Josh Trombley. A goal is a goal. It doesn't
It's
matter
true.
how it goes in.
Yeah,
That
his
is
other
true.
his other
It
thing
does
was
make
it's
it a donut, though.
his other thing was it's a shot is never a bad play, which I'd never agreed with, but
It was always a horrible play for him because
he just sails it wide.
Josh, if you're watching this, Ben's
Talking some mad shite, Josh. You should
talking shit. I want to see you guys
go to
fight.
Plattsburgh.
yeah.
All right. So before we get to the YouTube boxing match featuring Ben Watson and Josh.
Oh, I'm gonna get knocked out in like a half
No,
a
no, no.
second.
What's the
No.
prize for that?
2 hits.
$5.
Josh hits him, Ben hits the ground.
wait. To bring it back real quick. So talking about divisions, the Central Division is what
wanna
I
start
just
there?
looked at it. It's Carolina in first, Florida in second, Chicago in third, and Tampa Bay in fourth. That is
Chicago doing?
That is quietly
Chicago.
doing a lot of good things. Yeah.
You wanted to hear? I'll tell you what Chicago's doing.
Yeah.
They are 9-6-4 the whole season, and they are 7-2-1 in their last 10. So
Yeah.
they have been on a hot streak for 10
They
games.
Basically, have just as good a record as the Habs.
Yeah, but so, like,
Yeah,
it's
they
hard
do.
to- hard to compare that. Like,
Almost.
you can, but like the Blackhawks have 19 games, Lightning have 15, the Stars have 12.
Yep.
Like, there's a
That'll
lot. There's
that'll
a,
get even.
and the
though.
Red Wings have the most in that
Hopefully.
division. They have 20, so there's a massive imbalance on games played in that.
That's
Yeah,
that's where
gonna
all
be
the Corona
weird
issues were.
pretty much all year. It's gonna be up and down and weird all year with that. I think.
You know what the Stars need to do to get them going? They need to get Ben Bishop back because what's his face there?
Hudobin.
Ottinger.
Robin
Oh,
Is
Edinger?
Isn't Ottinger
not
getting
having
into
played a
games
good
too?
year. What?
Isn't Ottinger getting into games now?
I
Because
think
Hudobin's not?
I think it's Edinger.
Edinger.
Kudobin has 4 losses or 3 losses, 4 losses.
He's got something.
So they have three regulation losses and 4 overtime losses. They're 5-3-4.
So they have a losing record right now.
Yes.
Well, Tampa Bay. You'll notice I'm not wearing a Tampa Bay jersey because they need to earn back my love.
What are you
They
wearing?
sucked out loud in the last game. I'm wearing
Looks like a North Stars
this
jersey.
bad boy.
Oh, jeez. Old
Classic
school Malone.
with the what I hope is paint on the shoulder. I think it's paint because it's paint.
If it was blooded, it would have already washed
Yeah,
off.
it would have come out,
Yeah.
or it'd be pink.
Yeah.
It'd be like a pink tinge at this point. But yeah, so the Lightning played Carolina last night. They moved up a Carolina game because of the Dallas situation, and they lost 4-0. The Lightning were held off the score sheet.
That's
And to rub it in, the third goal was scored by Cedric Paquette.
Yep, I saw that.
I didn't watch the game because I was hanging out. Danielle's mom was up and we were hanging
That's
out.
kind of funny.
Playing a board game. But I watched the highlights. There were 2 highlights where the Lightning had chances in the entire little package. So they were playing like shite.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm sort of glad I didn't watch it. Well, yeah. That's pretty much it for the Central Division. Chicago's doing something weird. The
one
Panthers are
last-
still doing something weird.
Yeah. One last thing for
I have
the
a hard time
Central.
thinking. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Nick. Like you were saying earlier, though, with the games played, that is, it's weird looking at the Central standings right now. Yes, that is subject to change very rapidly, but we'll see what happens. It's just very weird right now. If you were to take a
because, like-
screenshot of this,
Yeah.
It would look weird.
Yeah, because like you're gonna see like Detroit's gonna have a period where they're not gonna be playing any games for a second because they don't have they've already got up to 20.
You think they'll have a
So
break?
Dallas has. I don't know. It's gonna be weird. But to your point, it's gonna change like that. Like
yes, very
we could wake up or we could be talking next week and it could,
be
be
totally
completely
different.
now.
Yep.
Tampa could be back at the top
Yep. back in the-
and Chicago could be in the basement. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
Not with
I don't know.
Detroit.
Yeah, no, Detroit's got that on lock. But I
That's
think
their
really
eighth
it's gonna be
place.
hard to say too much about standings until everybody hits like 30-ish games. And then you'll have a bit of a better idea. But like it's also just gonna be kind of weird all year, in terms of that. But
Except
anything
for
else
the
on the
West.
Central?
Except for the West Division, because
What's going on in
the
the
West
West?
Division is freaking nuts. So the big thing I saw and found was LA has shimmied their way into 4th.
that was
They've been
They
pretty
shimmied
prediction.
their
good.
way
Let's
with
go.
with a 4-win streak, 2 over Arizona, 1 over Minnesota, and 1 over San Jose. So they are 17 points in 4th, and I believe the 3rd place Avs.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, they have 19. They have 19 points. But LA's got 17 points, and Anaheim in 8th has 15 points. So that bottom
not a
bottom
lot of
5
spread.
spots is hotly contested.
Yeah, I guess so. Jeez.
Yeah, but you can't see Colorado sitting that low in points for
No,
that.
the bottom 5 like 4
Oh,
through 8.
okay. Yeah.
Is that 5? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I thought you were
no, those
looking
top 3 are
Colorado.
going to be fine.
Which is kind of what I think we were all saying was going to happen when we did our predictions. It was like, yeah, there's 3 really good teams, and then the rest are just going to kind of be there and
Fight
gonna
it
be
out.
probably fighting for that last.
You'll know
bubble.
like the last game of the season because that's going to
Yeah.
probably be the determinant for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
very-
going to be a
could very
weird.
well
That's
be.
going to be a fun one to watch.
I'm going to say this now. Just wait until we have this podcast at the end of the season when we have to predict who's going to like grab last spot. Oh man, that's going to be
It's going to be
nuts.
fun. It's going to be
Or,
fun
or
to see
trying
how
to
wrong
predict
we
who's
are.
going to come out of the divisions.
The
Oh,
crazy
yeah,
thing
yeah.
the Habs have to finish off the year is they have 3 games in a row against Toronto to wrap up the season. So that's going to be rough.
That
But
could be that could be first place decider right there.
It could be.
Yeah.
not if
Not if what
anyway.
happens keeps going. Let's move on to the North, boys. Who wants to start?
Nick can start. Nick can start because he had some fun to talk about this week. They lost
Won a
two,
couple
but they
games.
also
they played pretty. So what are we talking about? That the first game where
I think we have to talk about
played
that
Toronto.
comeback.
They went down 5-1 and then ended up beating them 7-5. Is that what it was?
It was
6-5
in OT.
Yeah.
Which I didn't catch
that was
any
funny.
of. Ben's like Ben texts us. He's like, turn on the Ottawa game, and he's like, never
They
mind,
just
it's
tied
over.
it up 5-5.
Dude, I was playing video games that night, and I didn't start watching that until like 10 minutes left in the third. When because I'd been checking it, like the score, and I was like, shit, whatever, Toronto. But then like I just went back to NHL.com just see what was going on with everything else, and I saw 5-4, and I was like,
They're doing it.
pardon? And then I turned it on, and I watched them tie it, and I just laughed for like 10 seconds. I was like, and then the Dadonov goal, you could see it coming too on that. It was a really nice play by, I think it was, what's his face? Josh Norris, I think it was, or it might have been Nick Paul.
I think it
It
was,
was one of the two. Did a really nice play to get a pass up to Dadonov. It was one of those two, and finished it off. That was a crazy, probably the craziest game of the week.
So the Senators' last 4 games basically have been, well,
Wishy-washy.
I'm talking 4 because the one against the Canadians is their 4th one in that string. But so they've had 3 against Toronto. So the first game they came back and beat Toronto in overtime. Then the second game they played Toronto in a very uneventful 2-1 loss. And then the third game they played Toronto, it was there was a point in the game where it got to 5-1, and somebody tweeted, "Oh, this is not a good score." It was either Ian Mendez or Steve Dangle. I can't remember who it was. And I was like, let's just see it happen again. Bring it back and let's see him win it again. And then it just got worse. It was like
they
7-1.
almost did, didn't they? They got it up to 5-3.
I think they did.
It was like 7-3 at the end of that game.
Yeah. They
Now they're playing the Canadians, beating the Canadians.
Yeah, this is real bad.
It seems like the only teams that the Senators can beat are Toronto and Montreal.
They got one against Winnipeg.
They can only beat the supposed top 2 in the.
And I think Winnipeg's kind of viewed as the third, them and Edmonton. So it's kind of funny that those are the 3.
That's unfortunate.
But
unfortunate at the same time.
I mean, yeah, it's got to be an overall good week for the Sens, I'd say.
If you go 500.
I mean, Matt Murray's still playing like shit, but whatever. He's
Yeah.
clearly not playing too bad tonight.
Yeah, I can't even say he's playing good. The Habs have just.
Well, I remember. I'm not going to tell you exactly where it came from, but it was. I can't remember what game it was. So they didn't have Murray starting in one of those games. I think it was the most recent loss to Toronto.
He came in.
He basically was like, "Yeah, this game's my fault. I didn't play good at all." Yeah. So he took the full blame on that one, as he should. Like,
I remember
you can't
that.
give
Yeah.
up 5 goals, dude.
Yeah,
like, you suck.
You suck. keep yelling about it.
He's stopping stuff tonight, but like the stuff the Habs are giving him.
The Habs.
It also was kind of concerning when I had my phone go off a minute into the game saying Nick Suzuki scores a goal. I'm like,
Started really nice.
Kind of like their season, huh, Ben?
I see this every time, dude. It's like it's like a reoccurring like horror story, a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm sure those NHL
minute into the game. I'm like, here we go. This is gonna be a long night.
Yes.
All right,
Corey Perry.
All right, Nick.
Corey
Oh
Perry.
my god.
All right, Nick. What did you say? What did you just say?
Sorry.
All right. I'm trying to listen, and Ben just keeps talking over you.
I said it's just a reoccurring horror movie. Like, you know, they give up a goal in the first minute of the game, and it just seems to just fall downhill from there.
They do
Ben,
do that a
don't
lot.
expect to win this game.
What's that?
I said, don't expect the Canadians to win this game.
Ooh,
I
he's
don't.
throwing it down.
I don't, but they tied
Throwing
it.
it
So Corey Perry actually just got a really nice goal.
So
Yeah.
the Habs are sliding, as I would say.
Pretty bad. Yeah.
5-0 in the last 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last 5 games. So there was a loss against Ottawa. Then they barely won a game, 2-1 against Ottawa. Then they lost 4-2 to Toronto. Then they lost 3-0 to Edmonton. Then they won 2-1 against Toronto in a really chippy, fun game. Oh, they better not take this back for fucking goalie. Anyway, then they had a week. Oh, they didn't. Cool. Then they had a week off, and just last night against Toronto. You know how after the first game of the season, I was like, they won't give them a prolonged 5-on-3 in a game again. They won't do that. They gave them a minute and 7. No, it wasn't 17. It was 5. It was a minute 5 long 5-on-3 to go into the second period to Toronto last night. And
sounds like 2 goals to me.
It was 2 goals. Very good, Mike.
Yep.
You've been studying. Very good. Yes, it was 2 goals. I think one of them was Matthews. I don't know what the second fucking one was.
Probably
then they admittedly did have a really good response after that. Kakanyemi looked alive for the first time in several games and had a beautiful wrister on a breakaway. That was great. And then Paul Byron had a nice backhander on a breakaway. That was great. But then what did they do? They took penalties against Toronto again. And they immediately, like 10 minutes later, went down 4-2. Yeah, I don't know. They suddenly, like, neither of their special teams can do anything. Like, they started the first, 5 to 10-ish games fairly okay. They actually had a decent amount of power play, success. That's dried up. And then now their penalty kill is just... The Senators, you were watching it too. They were just globetrotting around the Habs for half those power plays, but they just don't have an Austin Matthews, so a lot of those shots didn't go in.
Yeah, Stützle was throwing some really nice passes to people with wide open nets, and they were like,
"Oh my!" It is 6-2 Boston now.
Couldn't get that one.
But something's got to turn around and soon. With the Habs, they did just tie it up 2-2.
They have slid into fourth.
It's not good. It's been bad for a while now, and they did just come off a bye week. And since the bye week has been introduced, they have always been shit. They've not won a game since coming back from a bye week since it was introduced, and it's the second game back, and they have it tied tonight at least. But I am having a hard time not getting concerned.
I would be. Although you do have the least games played, only 16, so you have a bunch of games in hand, which is nice.
You gotta do something though.
Yeah, I know this is kind of a cop out. I know this is kind of a cop out too, but at the same time, with the amount of talent on the Habs roster, if you heat up late in the season with a shortened season, I know again late in the season is soon, but if you're gonna heat up at any time, you're gonna want to do it then during that push. So I don't know. I'm not a Habs fan. I don't have the years of pessimism that you so hold. But I'm still banking on with the amount of talent they can put it together by the end.
Ben just always gets so depressed talking about the Canadians because they just aren't ever good anymore.
I got 10 games. I got 10 games. I guess
really good.
I'm very far away from throwing in the towel on this team, but they're worrying me.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
That is fair. Toronto.
What's this rumor that I saw it on Twitter? Dangle tweeted it. What's this rumor about Nick Suzuki getting traded?
I mean, hasn't really been anything solid. I mean, there was when the Dubois trade was going around, the rumored ask from Montreal was Suzuki, but everybody's understanding of that is okay, then Bergevin probably hung up because it's just kind of viewed as one of the guys he won't trade because he is one of the most important pieces of the Habs future. He is their future at center, and how he turns out through this year and everything around now that I'm saying all of this, he's going to get traded tomorrow, but I don't know. Fuck you. You don't get him too. You don't get all of your team and Nick Suzuki. Fuck off. But
What do you guys want?
Actually no. But I mean,
we'll give you Ryan McDonough. You can have your draft pick back.
I don't want Ryan McDonough now.
Hey, you don't crap on Ryan McDonough.
I was going to say, isn't Ryan McDonough the most consistent D-man for the
He is one of the most consistent other than Hedman.
He was enough for his whole career.
No. It's not a slate on Ryan McDonough. He would be an upgrade on almost all of the Habs defensive core. But I would prefer to have the next 10 to 15 years of Nick Suzuki, if possible, is my point there.
Could be.
Yes, I would very gladly take a Ryan McDonough on this.
But not for Suzuki.
I want to fire Joel Edmondson into the sun, but like he kind of like was able to sort of make himself look a bit better in games like against Vancouver and kind of ish against Edmonton at times, although if he was on the ice with McDavid. But
that's
just
everybody.
You can't really get mad at him for that because every single person.
You'd take shitty Jordy Ben back over him, huh?
No, Jordy Ben hasn't been good this year.
Yeah, but he's on Vancouver.
Vancouver hasn't been good this year. But no, Joel Edmondson, like the amount of times I watched him get turnstiled last night against Toronto. And also at that, the Shea Weber, Ben Sherratt pairing.
Was it going downhill?
It's been rough. I'll just say that. It's been rough.
Well, he did just hit 1K, so maybe he's really starting to feel it.
Yeah, I don't know. Some stuff's got to turn around because they're not going down a good path right now, and it's a fucking breakaway for Ottawa.
Don't worry, they'll fuck it up.
Jake Allen, let's go.
I would like to mention Toronto right now. So far, me and Nick have been correct, right, buddy?
And it's hard. It was so hard to bet against Toronto. Like, yeah, none of them ever played together before, but like that main group, the 4 guys had a season under their belt. The 3 guys prior to fucking Tavares getting there played there for what 3 years before that. Like, of course they were going to be good. Their biggest question was going to be defense and goalie, and I think it's kind of showing that they.
Interestingly,
Freddie's doing good. I know he has his nights.
I was gonna say, interestingly enough, Freddie has not been doing great.
No, he hasn't.
It's been Interestingly enough, I think it's the defense at this point is holding them up, which is a very weird thing to say, but.
Well, TJ Brody was such a big piece to bring in that it allowed them to push a lot of their other D down. Like him slotting in at number 1 just made like the totality of it so much better.
Yeah.
The one thing I can't say too much bad about Toronto because they have the Habs number so far through this season, and they are just torching the league. The one thing that would have me concerned about them if I was a Leafs fan, which is something that Steve Dangle has mentioned a few times in videos, is it is the Marner Matthews show right now.
It is
just them. And what happens when they inevitably? Because yes, they're playing right now, but I don't think Matthews is going to score at the pace he is right now all season. I could be proven very wrong by that, and I probably will be just because of that fantasy hockey trade. But if there's a moment that those two drop off and significantly, they might hit their own kind of skid. But no, it's impossible to say anything all that bad.
It's hard to say too, because those two drop off, and then they still have Tavares and Nylander that could slide right in. But Nylander is not playing good this year, from what I've seen. It's like he's showing up against the shitty teams, and he is not showing up against good teams at all.
Tavares, I think, is having he's getting a little too much hate for what he's been doing. Just because, when you have...
It's not the Tavares show to go in there and score 40 goals.
Right. He's more of a... he did that his first year. He got 47, which I think that set him up with a bit too much of expectations with a lot of Leafs fans. Because from what I know about John Tavares, it's not really his game. He's more of an assist guy and then get the dirty goals kind of guy.
Yeah, he's as an Isles fan, he's a playmaker kind of guy.
Yeah.
But a clutch playmaker kind of guy.
Yeah.
Dirty pajama boy.
But he also has been playing with a Nylander who's been struggling, and a lot of that they've been stuck with Ilya Mikheyev for some amount of time, which is not ideal. I give Tavares a little more leeway because I think he's actually been done pretty decent on assists so far this year, from what I remember.
I think he's been doing okay. Somebody who actually has been doing really good the last couple games is Jumbo Joe.
Jumbo Joe, yeah.
Joe has come back.
Came back from injury and has been playing really good.
Yeah.
From an injury, he has been hot.
You guys might want to pick him up.
Is he
Not
free?
worth it.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
It's worth it for me.
It is worth it for Ben.
I mean, Jack Eichel's playing like shit. I don't know how much longer I hold on
I
to
can
him.
do that.
Dude, Jack Eichel just the Sabres are just so. Let's transition,
Eichel,
shall we? Let's transition.
I don't know how many
transition to the
times
East.
I've hopped onto my fantasy team and started a trade with Eichel and just like been like, he's got to come out of this at some point. He's gonna play good. Jack Eichel is a good player. He's gonna score. And then I'm like, he's not doing anything.
I've picked up and dropped Evgeny Malkin like 4 or 5 times. He's
Malkin,
been dick all this year too. Like there's just been so many weird ones.
Crosby's not even playing that good. Like he
Crosby's
is. Crosby's like quietly playing pretty good, but like he's not
doing usual.
He's not doing like
things.
monster numbers.
He's not standing out right now.
Yeah.
Another guy that just hit one.
He's a center and left wing. Let's go.
Jumbo Joe?
Yeah.
There we go.
They need to get Jumbo Joe and throw him on that second line with Tavares and Nylander.
Now they're sticking him with Matthews. Matthews and Marner. So that's a good guy to grab.
Well, what they really kind of need is
my points.
They need to get Simmons back.
Yeah, he's out for a little. He's out for a little while too. He broke his wrist, I think. So I think it's like 3 months. Minimum.
I was gonna say it's probably like 6 to 8 weeks.
Here we go.
And at which point he's gonna have a hard time. It seems like I mean it's just like every other injury that anybody gets in the NHL. He's gonna come back and he's gonna be flat for a little bit. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get a major injury and then come back in the same season and just go off again.
Connor McDavid. Remember that goal, McDavid? But that's different.
That wasn't the same season.
Oh, that wasn't. Oh,
I don't think it was because I was going to mention that later because I wanted to talk about him later. Actually, you know what? We're going to talk about him later. All right.
Ben, it looked like you were just going to flip out.
Real quick,
though. The Habs just gave up a 2-on-1 and fucking 3-on-3 OT, and I was.
Yeah, what's up? What's up, Eric?
So real quick, moving on to the East though. So we talked about the Sabres to segue. So the Islanders this week, the 15th and the 16th of February, they had a back-to-back against Buffalo. They beat them 3-1 and 3-0. In the shutout victory against Buffalo, the Sabres did not get a shot the entire third period of that game. They did not get a single shot.
I remember that actually because I was watching that at work with my sports editor, Islanders friend. Or fan. Islanders fan, rather.
He's the friend of the Islanders.
If he watches this, I want to know his opinion on John Tavares,
Is that Joey?
And other things.
That is the Joey in our fantasy league.
What's up, Joey? His team name makes sense now. All right.
Yeah.
I haven't understood that the whole year so far. His team name is the Island. So I was like, well, that's kind of weird, but it makes sense now.
But yeah, so the Islanders, so they beat Buffalo twice, which Buffalo, they just can't seem to put it together. But then they lost 2 games in a row to Pittsburgh. The first one they lost 4-1. They just kind of looked eh. I didn't really watch that game. I watched the highlights and it looked eh. And the game last night that they played Pittsburgh in, they lost 3-2. That game was tied, but then Pittsburgh won it late in regulation. So not really good, but at the same time, I don't know. Again, the East, in my opinion, is going to be one of the tightest divisions. And that whole – so if you look at, let's see, the Caps, the Flyers, the Penguins, and the Islanders all have Washington has 21 points, but the Flyers, Penguins, and Islanders all have 19 points right now. So it's
there's 3 right there.
Yeah, everything is going to move around again until late in the season, like we were talking about. Other than that, the East kind of looks as expected, at least as I expected it to. Bottom 3 are the Rangers, Devils, and the Sabres, and then everything else above that is pretty. I don't know, the teams that we expected to be doing good are doing pretty well.
I did not expect the Bees to be up top, to be honest.
Yeah, same. I didn't expect them to be 1.
I'm not overly surprised that they're there.
Yes,
and they only have 15 games played as well.
Yep.
Jeez. Yeah, they're still good.
Boston will never slide.
They'll never have to rebuild. Jesus.
And again, they're the first place team.
Thing to have happen, wouldn't it?
They're the first place team, and they have 22 points. And again, like we have tons of teams with 19 points right behind
21
them, so.
And then 19, 19. So
yeah. So
the one thing
that's close.
I am super not looking forward to is after this season, the Habs go back to a division with Toronto, Tampa, Boston, There's others. Oh, fucking. Okay.
Not in
Fuck you.
not the Atlantic. I don't think the Atlantic doesn't
The
have
Atlantic-
too many.
the
Other
Atlantic
than
has
those
all-
3.
Who else? I guess it is just those 3.
Just
But
those.
fuck, that is a 3 to have.
That is a 3. Is Carolina's Metro?
No, Carolina's Metro. What is?
Yep.
I feel like there's a team I'm missing.
Florida? I guess Florida, the way they've been playing.
And yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be unfortunate.
they just lost 3-2 to Ottawa too. Fuck.
Oh,
Haha, fuck you.
Sens Army.
Oh my.
Brady Kachuk with the goal, bitch.
So yeah. So you're happy with how the Isles are doing at this point, Eric?
They kind of the 2 losses against Pittsburgh. I was kind of like, but they're kind of just doing their thing. They're kind of fluctuating right now, which I haven't seen anything that's super worrying. Other than again, the Islanders just have stretches where they just cannot put pucks in the back of the net. They play so well positionally and defensively. Varlamov is having a heck of a season.
Ooh, yeah, he is for me.
Sorokin, yeah. Sorokin's having. I think he got his first. I don't know if I talked about that on last week's episode. He got a shutout for his first NHL win.
I think you mentioned
Your
it.
boy Barzell doing?
He's Barzell. He's
he
creating
doing
all the
stuff?
chances. Yeah, I don't know. You know what?
I've seen some of the game. I've seen some of the games, and yeah, he's just buzzing around.
He's their leader in assists with 9. He's their leader in points with 15. So yeah, he's doing Barzell things. And Jordan Eberle is kind of streaky as usual, but
How's JGP doing?
He's
JGP.
doing pretty well too. He kind of went off against Buffalo, but other than that, he's been kind of quiet. But again, the Islanders, they're not, even when guys aren't standing out, they're not playing. Like when I watch them play, I can tell when they're playing well, like positionally, and like teams aren't really generating much against them. So that's what I like. That is, for Islanders hockey, if you want to call
The
it.
Isles,
It's
they're
very-
just not that high, of much of
Yeah.
a high event team anyway.
They're-
so-
they're,
Yeah, Barzell's the guy. Barzell's the superstar who's just.
They're-
I
they're
think
Columbus-y.
like the Pajot stuff last year was just like fluky because he was never like
he is a playoff
he's good.
performer.
I'm not. Pajot's good. I think that was a little like outside of his normal what he was doing last year.
What did he do last year?
He was just scoring more.
Had
Like
a
he
bunch
was,
of goals?
when he got traded to, maybe it wasn't last year, but when he got traded to the Islanders, he played like leaps and bounds better than he seemed to when he was with the Senators, which I think anybody would. Honestly.
He's also like a Tavares kind of player, front of the net, grindy kind of player. So if he's not expected to do it all, he will flourish more, I think.
Doesn't he always he does always rip it in the playoffs too? Am I just imagining that?
No, he does always rip it in the
can't remember.
playoffs.
Let me
Well,
see.
they made
I'm
it to
looking
the
at
Eastern
his-
Conference Finals with him, so I guess he must have been ripping something.
Yeah, in
lines of coke before the game.
Oh no! Don't let
No, that's not what's happening.
I'm trying to think of the countless amount of NHL names to use that have had cocaine-ish. Kuznetsov is he one of
Kuznetsov's
them?
the
I don't
only
even
one
want to get
that
into
comes
that.
to
I
mind.
don't want to get into that right now.
Is there
in
more?
but with there's like
I'm sure
that's
there's
the
some I
top
haven't heard, like that no one's heard of. But
with Pajot though, he has 27 points in 57 playoff games, which isn't that crazy. But the last 2 playoffs he's been in 19 games, he had 10 points, and in 22 games, he had 11.
Yeah.
So pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Very good.
But yes, again, the Islanders, they're just kind of chugging along. I want to see Sorokin play a little bit more. I mean, it makes sense if Varlamov is hot right now, just play him, right? Get wins because it's a shortened season.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Again, it's just interesting with the Islanders can beat the Bruins, but then they struggle against Pittsburgh. It's all wonky, but
the Bruins,
nothing too worrying.
The Bruins, who by the way are leading 6-2, like you said, Ben, and 3 of their goals
6-2.
came in a 99-second window. So,
Jeez.
Carter Hart, what are you
Goal
doing,
every
man?
33 seconds.
Cat
Holy
Hat's
shit.
having a hard time.
Yeah.
The last melon, gentlemen, that I wanted to talk about is the Connor McDavid melon.
David,
What's there to say?
what a man.
I have never seen I think this is the best individually skilled player in the history of the game. Obviously, I
probably
have. Obviously, I haven't watched. I haven't watched like the older generations. Back 10,
He's a
20, 30 years.
more higher skilled player than Wayne Gretzky was.
Oh, he absolutely is. Obviously, that's why I think now you can have so much more higher skill just because technology is
just
better
from
and
the fact
coaching's
of
better.
like just it's so much more advanced at this point. Like you can say that
but
safely.
The goal against the Flames that you sent, Ben, he steals the puck off of the guy, kicks it to his stick. Skates up, never once looks down at the ice. His head is up and looking around the entire time, looks across for the pass, doesn't look at the net, and just rips it.
And it goes in.
And
all while going like full McDavid speed.
Like full speed. It is insane the things that he can do. It's like otherworldly. I don't understand it. And he's on the Oilers.
What are you guys thinking, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years when this guy retires, okay? And I'm sure it'll be more than that, but let's just say it conservatively, 15 years from now when he retires. When you talk about GOATs in hockey, obviously your Mount Rushmore starts with Gretzky, but is he going to be like, you don't have the discussion in basketball. MJ's the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because he changed the game. But, like, I don't know, like...
I think you have to...
If McDavid keeps up at the pace he's at, like, he's going to be
Actually,
like... I don't know how you don't call him number one ever, like, no questions asked, like, he is number one of all time.
Interestingly, he hits 500 points in the exact same amount of games as Sidney Crosby. Very interesting.
There was that. I would say I don't think he will be remembered as the greatest ever if he plays his entire career in Edmonton.
He's got to win.
Because I don't think he's winning cups if he stays in Edmonton.
You got to get cups.
There's that. He'll like if you no matter even if he just demolishes the league for all of his career, but does not do a single thing in the playoffs, then there'll be people who be like, okay, statistical like prowess is amazing, but like just the general like sports fansiness of all of everything, like nobody will view him as the best just because Gretzky has, I think, 4 or 5.
You need to you need to win that final big trophy to be in the running.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree, 100%. And I don't think, like, to your point about him not winning in Edmonton, he can't just. He's not going to just be able to be him in the Draisaitl show and put the whole team on their back and win a cup. It's not going to happen. Like, sure, Gretzky was able to do it back in the day, but the teams were not as good.
That's because he was so much better than everybody else.
But we're saying that McDavid is like way better than everybody else right now too, and he is. But I don't know.
He also, he did, but Gretzky also played in an era when the goalie's main strategy for stopping a puck was they were completely stand-up goalies, and if it was along like mid-range, they would just kick their leg, and hopefully it hits it.
Maybe this will work.
So like obviously Gretzky's a talent unto his own, but like I always have problems with like looking at his stats, and I'm like, if you look at the 80s as a whole, you can very clearly see it was wildly inflated in terms of points.
If you stick Wayne Gretzky, if you pluck Wayne Gretzky from that era, from the 80s, and drop him in to now, he's probably
he's a 20 points a season player.
20 points a season, you think? Well, it depends as well, because obviously back then you're using wooden sticks and stuff. Like if he grew up with the other things,
Wayne Gretzky training and like modern equipment, he'd probably be better.
I agree. I don't think.
I think he'd be average.
Did you just say 20 points?
Yeah, I was being a little bit much, but
he never played for the Canadians.
I agree. He's not as good as he was like for 80s. Obviously, he's not going to be. But hasn't he come out and said like he wouldn't be able to skate with any of these guys?
He's publicly said that he wouldn't want to play. Like, well, I don't know that he wouldn't want to play, but like he's publicly said he's been like, geez, these guys, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, to your comment about plucking 80s Wayne Gretzky with like the right equipment and stuff like that, I think the answer is Connor McDavid. That's
you think so? I don't.
Yeah, the universe. No. All jokes aside, I think.
Imagine Time Machine though put McDavid in the 80s. Anyway, I'll shut up.
my
Okay,
God.
that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
200 goals a season,
Dude, that's what it would be.
McDavid's hat-tricking every night.
He'd get the
He's
Ovechkin.
getting 6 goals a night. What do you mean?
Get the
He brings
Ovechkin.
he brings a composite stick back, and everyone's like, "Where'd you get that?" Like,
What is that?
But the player that I was thinking of when you said that, like he needs to right. You can statistically be the greatest player of all time, but you need the hardware, right, to show that. So I always think of Ovechkin, right? People were teetering on that edge of like it's getting close, he's got to do something now, and he ended up winning it. So I'm just sitting here now, right? Ovechkin is about to, or this season could pass Phil Esposito on the goal list, and like.
Yeah.
If he didn't win that cup, we could be sitting here right now and saying like, oh, he's really good, amazing goal scorer, but he didn't win a cup. He didn't win a cup. So I think McDavid, he's so young, he's so talented. I don't know. I think the hockey gods will hopefully give him one.
It's still a hard discussion with Ovechkin because like I forget about him. As bad as I say it, I forget about him sometimes. I don't know why, but like.
I love Ovechkin as a player. I have a soft spot for him.
Oh, I like him too. I just don't know why. Like when I think about hockey, I don't think about him instantly. Like I think about
you didn't watch
the crew.
Yeah, you didn't watch as much hockey like in like the heyday of Crosby v Ovechkin, like from like 2006 to like 2015. Like the Penguins Washington series
on Versus, dude. On Versus.
On Versus,
yes.
Let's go.
That's friggin' classic.
To the Ovechkin point about Washington and him finally getting a cup, though, I would argue that while Washington had their own problems in the playoffs, they were at least consistently getting to the second round, like almost every year, and like they always seemed like a team that should be. Like they should be doing more. They should be getting to the final round or like the conference final or the Stanley Cup. Like they were always a team that you're like, the hell, why aren't they doing things?
Yeah, but
have you ever thought that about Edmonton?
Washington had a way better team every season though. Like they didn't just have, like they had Kuznetsov, they had Backstrom, or was it Backstrom? They have John Carlson, they have TJ Oshie, they had fucking Braden Holtby. Like they had a stud of a goalie. That's the problem. That's one of the biggest problems with Edmonton is they've had shitty goalies the whole time.
They don't really have anything apart from those other.
Cam Talbot was garbage forward depth either. Well, Cam Talbot was good until they played him for 72 games 2 years in a row. He did at least one 72 game season, and then I think they overplayed him again the next year. Like it was just dumb. But my point was, yeah, that's the thing. Washington did have a better team consistently year after year after year after year. Like. I don't know how long Connor McDavid will keep staying in. Like before, I don't know how long it is before Connor McDavid requests a trade. If Edmonton misses the playoffs again this year, if they miss the playoffs this year in the Canadian division with the sheer lack of defense to play against McDavid and Draisaitl, if they miss it this year. Like, how long do you stay there as McDavid, as the greatest player in the game pretty much at this point, or one of the greatest?
In history.
At least one of the greatest. How long do you keep staying there? Why would you?
I think you'll see Draisaitl leave before, to be honest. I bet McDavid rides out one more year. Like, let's just hypothetically say they miss it again this year. I bet you Draisaitl says, I want out. I bet you he's gone first, and then you see McDavid leave one.
Yeah, I would see Draisaitl request a trade first, and I would also see his contract being more movable.
It's a far cry. It's a far cry from saying, from asking to be traded to actually being traded.
Yeah,
is one of those two guys.
Yeah, other sports. Other sports, you can demand to be traded and make it hell for the team, and they'll trade you. It's happening in football. It's always happened in basketball. It's just starting to happen in football now.
It just happened with Dubois.
Baseball doesn't do it, but I don't see it. Like hockey and baseball are hard sports to do it in because like your teams are so big, and like typically that one player can't change the team's outcome. Like yes, they're going to contribute to it significantly. But like, yeah, I know. I don't.
Well,
know.
I mean, actually, no, I guess not, because Edmonton's kind of proving that just he alone can't.
Yeah,
I
but like, LeBron can move a team and win a championship just because of him.
That's
Yeah.
basketball.
I know.
You can pretty reliably look at basketball and be like, this guy is going to get probably about this many points a game or whatever. And like, if they're that much greater of a talent, they will. There's just so much random chance.
But I guess my point is like those two leagues, football starting to, but basketball, like the players run those leagues basically. Like they call the shots on where they want to go. Hockey and baseball are not.
Yeah,
and,
no, they don't.
If you see McDavid and Draisaitl do this, maybe that changes the game a little bit, and you're going to start seeing. It's different too, because I know hockey has the hard cap, and that's not ever going to change. It seems like, but like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't think you'd have a hard time finding suitors for either of those guys. Like, I think a lot of people would be very willing to give you a lot of things for either of those two players.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
But
a
you
lot
also
of things
have to think
before any of that.
Yeah. Oh man, imagine. No, they couldn't. Never mind.
You're just gonna say imagine Tampa getting one of them?
No. I was actually gonna say imagine the Leafs finagle something to get friggin' McDavid over there. Mitch Marner, Tvar, the other way.
Edmonton can't take on like $12 million on top of whatever they have, because that's what it would be, or $10 million, because both Tavares and Marner are both $11 million players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. Oh
and
yeah,
Connor
they only have $3
McDavid
million.
is 12.
They only
I think.
have
So it'd be like
0.
That'd be $10 million extra that Edmonton would be taking on.
But just imagine. Let's just imagine it.
He's got because I'm trying to think. He would want to go to a team that's got a chance, and I'm trying to think of a team that has the cap space. I guess they could make it, but
you'd be dealing contracts back. But the thing is, in a Connor McDavid trade, you're not going to get fair value for Connor McDavid.
You won't win it, but like if he's trying to,
you're not going to win a Connor McDavid trade. You're not going to get it. It's not.
It's been traded.
Yeah, it's not. It's not going to be a Tavares Marner.
Like, even when Carlson got traded, everybody looked at that trade and said, that's so uneven. Like, I did. I saw it. I was like, what the fuck? They didn't get anybody good. But it paid off. It's not going to happen every time. But
I would argue any other combination of GM and owner could have gotten more for him. But
I mean, I don't think that was also when Dorian had anything to do with that.
Probably not. That was also when they were insisting on not trading within division, which in a sense makes sense. Like, yeah, you probably don't want to be facing Erik Karlsson every night if you're but also, what if a Boston or somebody gives you a much better offer than like just that, hearing that was their mindset, you got to wonder if there were other things on the table in terms of Erik Karlsson, and then they just were like, no, we're going to send him to San Jose. It did end up working out for them, because Erik Karlsson never really kind of recovered from that injury. He's not been Ottawa, Erik Karlsson, anyway. But
he's still not playing that good, is he?
No, and I don't know what San Jose was doing with that contract.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
He's at $11 million a year for like another 5 or 6 years, I think, or at least 4 or 5.
Yeah, he's making a lot more than a lot of people that are doing much better than him. We're gonna wrap it up there.
This was a prove it year for him too, right? Like, he had all this time off. Like, if he's gonna come back good, he's gonna come back good this year, because he's never gonna have this much rest time.
I don't think San Jose's been all that good this year, so there's that. But, or am I just imagining that?
They're in the running for that 4th spot. That's pretty highly contested. So
everybody
they're doing about the same. Yeah. Let's wrap it up, gentlemen. We're at about an hour and a half-ish.
I just said some heinous things about Gretzky and McDavid in that last 15, 20 minutes. I think.
Not so much about McDavid, but you did crap all over Gretzky.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, I'm mad about the Habs, and I'm just taking it out on hot takes.
Yeah, he's mad. They just lost to the Sens.
It's okay.
Sens
they can't win all of them.
Sens have
but they need to start winning some of them.
All right, everybody. We hope you enjoyed. Come back next week where we'll be talking about whatever happens this week. Next week. All right. Peace out, everybody.